This show is dedicated to all those people who are first-time buyers, all of you who have been calling and telling us that you want us to do something for the first-time buyers. So today we're going to talk to our real estate expert, Jay Banerjee, specifically for the first-time buyers. Thank you for being here, Jay.
Thank you, Molly.
All right, so last week we had lots of calls from people who are first-time buyers.
That's right.
And they want us to give some options to people who have never been in real estate
Sure.
market before. So what are some of the options available to people who are first-time buyers?
Absolutely. There are especially special programs from the government, whether from the Ontario government, in some cases the federal government, for first-time buyers. I'll highlight them and then we'll go into it if I may.
Okay.
So one is that you can buy a home with 5% down. Now I will talk more about that because it includes others now as well. The other is to use your RRSPs to buy a home. And this is known...
That is really, really important.
It is.
Because a lot of people have been contributing to RRSPs.
Yes, the home buyer's plan.
And so if they don't have any down payment and they would like to use the money that they have been putting into RRSPs, now they can do that. So why don't you give us more information on the RRSPs?
Sure. See, most Canadians are investing in RSPs to an amount. So the home buyer's plan is a program that is established by the federal government that allows an individual who is qualified, who is a qualified first-time home buyer to withdraw up to $20,000 tax-free from their RRSP. That's $40,000 per couple. That's a lot of money.
A lot of money.
To buy or build a qualified home located in Canada and has to be the buyer's principal residence.
Yes.
Those are the two. Has to be in Canada and the buyer's principal residence.
Yes, you can't use that money for investment.
Yes. Let's talk about for a brief, actually, you know what? Who likes free money?
Everybody does. Okay. Especially if you're a first-time buyer, you can use all the money you can get.
That's right. See, if you're a first-time buyer or you haven't owned a home in the last 5 fiscal years and you have not previously participated in the home buyer's plan, there's a strategy to get free money. Simply use your unused RSP portion or limit with your own savings or get an RSP loan.
Yes, and your financial institution will be more than happy to give it to you.
And keep it for at least 90 days.
Okay, so if there is someone who has not contributed to RSPs and there is some limit available, they can go to a bank or any financial institution, borrow some money, put that money into RSPs and leave it there for 90 days.
That's right.
Okay.
And see, let me give you the example. If you fall in the 40% tax bracket, on a $3,000 RRSP, you would get a $1,200 income tax refund.
Okay, so there you go.
Once you're ready to buy and 90 days have passed, you can remove it under the home buyer's plan. So if you had an RRSP loan, simply collapse the RRSP, pay off the loan, and you still get your income tax refund.
Okay, so be very, very careful. If you have done this and you want to use this money towards the purchase of your home, you have to make sure that you let your realtor know so that they can coincide the closing date.
Very important.
To match the 90-day.
Because the money cannot be withdrawn at all, no matter what, for that time period.
Right. So very important to let your realtor know about it.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Molly.
Next.
The next would be that it's called the cashback program, where you can receive up to 3% cashback on closing on your mortgage. Now, there may be some interests that could be a little bit higher. So that's, for example, $4,500 on a $150,000 mortgage.
Yes, there are many banks who will, for a little bit of extra interest rate, will give you that cash back that you can then use towards your closing costs or perhaps your moving costs,
Appliances, paying down debt.
Yeah, any of those things.
So the cashback program can be used by someone who already has a mortgage, and if the rate as well, and if the rate is considerably higher than the going rate, for example, it pays to break that mortgage. So if you're stuck into a 4-5% mortgage interest rate, you could go to an institution, get a lower rate, get the cash back, and pay off your penalty. That's a possibility too. So now you've got the RSP, you've got free money, you've got cash back, and of course, at the very beginning, you know that as a first-time buyer, you can buy with 5% down, which was one of the most popular programs. It really drove the economy of home buying. Now, in the last couple of years, the government has opened this up to others as well.
Others as well, yes.
But you can, basically you can still buy, as long as you know, you can buy your home with 5% down.
All right, so now there are some people who feel like, why not just continue to rent?
You can.
Why buy?
You can, but let me ask you a question. Do you want to be mortgage? Do you want to be rent-free someday? Do you want to be able to live in your home and not have to pay?
Because with renting, it never ends.
Right. One day, the mortgage will end. One day, the values will go up. And on that day, it feels really good to live free. It feels good to be in your home worth, in today's day, in the GTA, $500,000.
That's right. And there are many people, because it's really expensive to live in a city like Toronto. And so they're not able to save too much money.
Yes.
But when you buy your home and you pay it down, that is your savings plus more.
Yes.
Right?
That's right.
Talk a little bit about that.
Okay, so give me let's take a couple. Let's talk about a couple. Take a scenario and ask them. So why don't you give me a couple, say husband and wife, and they're going into living in a home, residential or otherwise. So why don't you give me a scenario, Molly?
So here's the thing: the rents are almost as high as the mortgage payment.
Let's give it an
some
amount.
Cases,
let's say $2,000.
In some cases, even more.
Yes.
Right? And tenants, if it is a house that they're renting, they will still pay the utilities.
Yep.
The only thing they wouldn't be held responsible
Which could
for,
be $300, yeah.
right, is the taxes.
Yes.
Right? Which is not that high. Okay, so now if you are paying $2,000 in rent,
Yes.
and you will just continue to pay, and every year your rent is supposed to be going up.
It could be $2,500 in I don't know, a couple of years or 4 or 5 years or whatever.
Right. But if you are buying and paying the same amount of money towards your mortgage,
Let's say
depending on
500. Let's say 500,000. Give it a number, right?
right,
Or
and you
450.
right.
Yes.
So even though you haven't been able to put aside any money
Yes.
for savings,
Yes.
this will be something that you will be
Yes.
putting towards.
Right. The reason I asked for an example is because let's say you're buying a home for a semi or something in Toronto's East End, or in the outskirts, for say 450,000. You can still buy a home for under 500,000. Now let's say you're putting down 10%. You put down 45,000. Your mortgage is 400,000. In this day and age, the mortgage for 400,000 would be about $1,600, less than the 2,000. Now there are other expenses, but you have that too. But here's the beauty: 50% of the mortgage in the early years, and then more later on, goes towards paying down your mortgage. So if you count your mortgage of $1,600, you take $800, which is going towards yourself every month, multiply times 12. That's like almost 9,000, some 9,600. $10,000 almost per year you're paying yourself. So
In addition to the property values going up.
So let's take a family that stays in the home for 10 years. Now they've got this $10,000, 10 years, 10,000 a year, simple mathematics, that's $100,000 tax-free growth. Did you hear that? Tax-free. You know why, right? In Canada, a privilege given to us by our government is that the increase of value in your own home, your principal residence, it's considered free of capital gains.
So no tax.
You pay down your home $100,000. Let's say in the next 10 years it goes up $150,000. It can, based upon today's market. Now it's down $100,000, up $150,000. That's $250,000 of tax-free income. Where do you get to have that?
All right, so there you go. So if you are renting,
Yes.
it makes absolutely no sense to
Nope.
continue to do that
right.
because you are paying a mortgage.
That's right.
Not yours,
That's
but
right.
your landlord's.
That's right.
So you may as well begin to invest in your own future.
Yes.
So if there is someone who wants some more information
Yes.
and wants to get started with this process, where can they call you, Jay?
647-273-1119. Call me now.
All right, so there you go. Call Jay at 647-273-1119. Call him now.
I'm ready.
Thank you for being here, Jay.
Thank you, Molly.